Hey guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Melissa and I'm going to recreate this necklace I had made. So this necklace I made for myself. It involves making these fused silver rings, which are shiny and polished. They're not textured in any way. And I have 3 of them here, along with some freshwater pearls, freshwater pearl dangle, and some bead links, and some 16 gauge figure 8 links, some leather cord, and up here I have figure 8 links, my little swan clasp, and some split rings it looks like, and a little dangle at the end. Okay, so what I'm going to use to recreate this necklace is, first I'm going to make my fused rings, and for that I believe I used 12 gauge round fine silver wire, just like this here. I fused the rings and then I hammered them. This one is a little bigger than these two, so I'm going to go ahead and use my ring mandrel and measure this out at like a size 12 on the ring, and these about a size 8. And of course, after I hammer them, they'll get a little bigger. That's what I'll start off with. First, I'm gonna cut one end flush. This is some thick wire, so it's gonna take some fiddling to get these ends even. So I'm gonna need to file them flat. All right, I'll make the bigger ring first. I'm gonna gently shape it with my rawhide mallet. I think I'll cut it about there. Okay, so those ends need to be super flush. So I have a lot of filing and trimming to do. Too much of a gap still. It's getting better, but I still see daylight. I think that's pretty good. Larger gauge rings are a lot tougher to fuse, so I want them as close to flush as I can get them. All right, let's make a couple more, 2 size 8s. Not too bad. I think they're ready for fusing. Here are the 3 rings, and let's go fuse. I have all 3 of my rings lined up here. I have everything ready. I've got my torch ready over here on the side. My fire brick, my quenching water. I have tweezers available right here. My rings are ready. The joints are all at 12 o'clock. Keep it consistent. I'm gonna turn the lights off and get to fusing here. I'll start up at the top here. Kind of go around slow and steady until I see that flow. First it starts to glow, and then you see it flow. There we go. This is how they turned out. Not too shabby. Okay, so I'm back in my craft room. I'm not at my normal desk because it's not really sturdy over there for pounding. I'm really gonna pound the heck out of these rings because I want to make them really flat. I'm going to be on this nice sturdy oak table. So I'm not gonna put a texture in these. I'm just gonna make them nice and flat so I can shine them up really pretty and they won't have any texture to them. Use a nice big hammer for these. Oh, you know what? But first I want to make them round. I want to make sure they're round. So I'm gonna put them on the mandrel. I'm gonna use my rawhide mallet to make them perfectly round so I won't have to worry about that later. Smaller ones are going to be more tricky. Don't hammer your fingers. I finished hammering them out. And this is what they look like. They kind of look like brushed silver now, but you know what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna throw them in the tumbler and see how they turn out after that. Hopefully that takes all the brush marks out of them. And if not, then I have to go in and with my polisher and get the marks out, but we'll see how that goes. Okay guys, I got my rings out of the tumbler. They've been in there for 2 hours and this is how they turned out. And I kind of like how they have like a subtle brush effect to them. So I'm gonna leave it as is. I'm not gonna polish them anymore. I kind of like that. So they're gonna lay on the necklace like that. Here's the necklace that I made. I'm gonna need to make a dangly, but I noticed that this ring is fused. So I'm going to have to go back to my little fusing station and fuse a ring on. That looks like 16 gauge. So I just need one ring. So this is 16 gauge pure silver, only because I'm fusing it. The rest of the metals will be sterling silver wire. That looks pretty good. But I gotta open it up because I gotta fuse it onto this. All right, let's head over to the fusing station and get this guy fused. Okay, so we're here at my stove once again, but this time I need to dig out a little crevice to keep my larger ring upright so my little ring will lay flat. So my little joint is right there. This shouldn't take very long. That one was a bust. See, this sometimes happens. The one side liquefied and balled up, and then the other side didn't do anything. So I gotta start over. All right, here's my new ring. Let's try this again. See that? Much better. All right, let's go start assembling. So I have everything laid out here. I put my rings in the tumbler for an hour just because with fusing this one ring to the large ring, it really softened everything up. So I put it in the tumbler to harden the metal up a bit. It also gave them a shine, so I won't be able to put them in the tumbler once I have everything assembled and the leather attached, so I did that ahead of time. So as far as beads, I decided on some amethyst. For my focal bead, I have this faceted rectangle amethyst bead. I also grabbed some little faceted glass beads to jazz that dangle up a bit once I make it. I also grabbed some 8mm amethyst round beads for my accent beads. And then at the end of the necklace, off the extender chain, I got a 6mm. Sorry, these are 10mm and this is an 8mm. And this guy is gonna hang off my extender chain at the end. I grabbed a couple bald head pins that I have made. If you don't know how to make these, I'll link that up in the cards. I started making my figure 8 lengths out of 16 gauge round sterling silver wire. I have one more to make and I'll show you real quick how I did that. I also cut two 12-inch lengths of 2mm black leather cord. So everything's ready to assemble. Let me finish my last figure 8 real quick, show you how I did them. I used 1.5 inches of 16 gauge wire and I used the widest part of my round nose pliers. Start twisting it around, go to the other side, start twisting it the other direction. You use your thumb to push it as well. I always come back with my flat nose because I like the ends to kind of line up, which they don't quite line up right now. I bring my flat nose and kind of squeeze until my ends line up nicely. Just like that. So I have 8 of those, 2 head pins, some beads. Next I want to make my dangly focal bead. Let's see how my little crystal beads look with my amethyst bead. I think I'm just going to use one crystal bead because I'm running out of room up here. So I need to attach this to this ring. All right, next I'll make my bead links. I'm going to use 20 gauge wire for that. I think 2 inches will be good. So I go ahead and make a loop on one end. Grab a bead. I like my loops facing the same direction there. And on either side of the bead link, I'm going to attach one of my figure 8 links. And make sure they're closed. You don't want anybody sneaking out on you. All right, make the other side real quick. Make sure your loop is nice and straight. Feed your bead on and wrap the other side. Next, I want to attach my figure 8s to my large rings. Like always, you just open it to the side, feed on your ring, and close it back up again, nice and snug. All right, so the main component is finished. All you have to do is attach your leather, make your cord ends, add your little clasp area, and you'll be done. First I'll make my dangle. Get my dangle done, I'm going to put the other glass crystal along with my amethyst bead and make a wrapped loop. Well, here's my dangle. All right, let's attach the leather. Figure out approximately the center. Make a little pretzel tie. So I'm not sure what kind of knot this is, but I feed my leather through the link and then I feed the end through my pretzel. And then I cinch it down really tight. You really have to work with the leather to get it nice and tight. But I really like this attachment because the knot isn't really big and bulky. The same thing to the other side. Try to get your ends as even as possible. I did pretty good on this side not so much, so I got to trim it. To finish these cord ends, I'm going to grab some more 20 gauge, maybe 3 inches for each side. And I see, kind of determine which direction my leather curves, and that's the direction I fold it over. So I fold it over and give it a nice pinch. I fold my wire in half, and then I start wrapping. Try to get that first wrap nice and tight, and I start winding around in either direction. Snip the sharp part off. I kind of bend it inward and smush it in to anchor it real good. See with this side, I just kind of hook it. The same thing to the other side. Next, you start feeding on your links. Sometimes I use my round nose pliers to kind of open up my cord ends a little bit. Just be careful. It's coming along. What I also need to finish this necklace is some split rings, and I'll put those in between the figure 8 links to tie them together. For that, I'm going to use some round 18 gauge sterling silver wire and just wrap it around a dowel. Any size dowel will do, depending on how big you want your split rings. I wouldn't make them any bigger than your figure 8 links. I think I'm going to need about 3 or 4 of them. So we'll just start attaching them and see how long our necklace gets. I'll put one on this side. To that, I'm going to attach a homemade swan clasp. And this I'm going to attach the dangly as well. Last but not least, I got to make my clasp. I think I'll make that out of the 16 gauge. I cut a good 3.5 inches for it to give me plenty. If you're not sure how I make this, if I'm going too fast, I'll link a video up above. nice fat chunky clasp to go with my nice fat chunky links. This is a sharpening stone. I use either these or a metal file, whatever I have closest to me. Okay. There's the extender chain, and this can link onto any one. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully I gave you an idea for your jewelry making designs. Please let me know what you thought in the comments. And always don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell to be notified of future videos. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.